trading. Um, so I kind of had an interesting day today in terms of just trading and all of that stuff. So what I ended up doing today was this morning wanted to give this market some time. What it was doing, what was happening with delta volume, what was really going on in the market this morning was very interesting to me. And I really wanted to kind of take my time. And I did take a long in here, and then I took a short here on this bar. I didn't go short here, I went short here. One thing that I would critique about my entry today on the short was this. I really think this is kind of important. Let's see. When we came up into this area, when we broke let's see. Trying to do this chart when it's really small is not exactly easy to do. When we broke initial balance, okay, when we came through, we came up, we were broken, looking for a range extension, possible trend continuation. If you were here this morning, you know that I was talking about that in pretty deep length this morning. But here, what happened here was price action closed back down through initial value, came down, retraced all the way back up again, and tested this area of sellers stepping into the market. Okay. And when we did that, we came up and tried to move above this area as if it was potential support. And we ended up coming down and trading through it. This here, I should have been able to recognize this a little bit faster and entered my short around here. I did not today. I entered later than that. I entered on this second bar here around this area for my short. I did not enter here. And it's a bit of better short position, but I made a couple $1,000s on that original short anyhow. And then I turned around and took a short here and on this bar. And what kept me out of the market for the whole day was the fact that we were pretty much trading in a range, and I was expecting a possible trend movement is what I was expecting. And when we came up and we created this nice little trough up here, I decided that it was probably time for me to look at a potential short off of these highs, especially because we came off of this area down here really hard, and it was a big momentum bar. And that type of momentum bar, we should be expecting some sort of follow through. And the fact we could not break a higher high, we tried to here, immediately came back down. I got in right around the 46 area. And then I took that down to, I don't remember where I took that down. Let me see if I can go to the other chart and look. I took that trade down to, let's see here. Yeah, that's the entry area. I came in, and I believe I got stopped out here. Yep, on this bar at around 89. And so that ended up being a nice little trade as well. With the volatility this morning, very difficult trading this morning. I was having a really hard time last night in the Asian session. That's where the majority of this came from. was the Asian session. I think it was up, what, 4,000 in the Asian session last night. Um, Very hard trading. There was times where I was up 300-400, then I was down 1,200, then I came back almost to positive. It's like down 100, and then I was back down 900 again. And it was just kind of back and forth like that all night. And when when price action is reacting in that type of manner and difficult to trade, it can wear you down. And you have to decide for yourself if you have the wherewithal to withstand revenue rotation like that, or if you need to be more even kiltered. And today, walking into the US session, I was kind of numb to the whole thing. It was just kind of done with trading. I had already done so much of it, and it was a complete struggle the whole time that I really wasn't too keen on trying to get into positions this afternoon or this morning. And I did find that long right in the very beginning of the open. I mean, it was like right at 9:45, 9:47, somewhere right around in there. And I think it would end up being like revenue of like 700. When that bar happened, what was going on with Delta was extremely important. I don't know. Anybody in here look at Delta? Anybody watch it? Cumulative Delta? I don't all the time, but there are times where I feel like Delta is pretty important. And this morning was one of those times. And this is why. When we come over here and we look at the Delta this morning, okay, we had this move down. Delta kind of went sideways, right? Not a lot of volume coming in or out. And then all of a sudden, we had this buying that came in, this upticking Delta volume, okay? Market orders on the offer side hitting over and over again. And we had this nice little sell off going into it. And what that's telling me is that buyers are being absorbed in this market. And if buyers are being absorbed in the market, I don't really want to go long. Yet when we broke out of the opening range this morning, initial balance, right, we turned around and we're showing signs of a short-term trend in a really strong downward move. And I didn't really want to take longs up there because we weren't acting or behaving like a trending market condition at those highs. And if the market's not doing what I anticipate it to do, I'm not clear on what it's doing. And in life, in general, in trading and in life, I'm a type of individual, I don't like to act when I'm not clear. And so I didn't have that clarity. And so I waited for some time. And then that's when I decided to go short in here because this bar gave me time. It was like 30 minutes of trading, going on. And now I had a chance to say, okay, do I want to go ahead and participate in this in the downward direction based upon the close and the rejection for the highs? And that's why I didn't get in after we closed back down below initial balance this morning. And I did wait for some time, but that's something I talked about this morning as well. Give it time. Give it time to decide what it's going to do before we start trying to find entries. We're trading, yes, but we want to be safe. And sometimes when it comes to safety in trading, we need to wait. And so now when we come over here to current charts, we're kind of doing the same exact thing, right? We have a nice downward move. We're making lower lows. We're making lower highs. And we have a nice down bar on the 30-minute chart. And Delta is still upticking. And price being where it's at, when you look at this low back here, and then you look at Delta, Delta is still higher than where current price is trading, telling me that we still have potential sellers absorbing buyers in this market. And so I'm more keen to the short side, but don't have any setups right now. So just going to kind of just chill and wait and see what happens here. In terms of psychology and trading while I am here in this live streaming and in front of people, feel much more comfortable this afternoon than I did this morning. And definitely much more so the level of comfortability than I was yesterday. Sometimes it just takes practice. And sometimes we just have to do hard things. We have to find something that's hard for us to do, or we find something that's hard to do. And if we really want the results of that action in our life, we have to do that hard thing. Not because that thing is hard, but because we have internal habits and behaviors that are not aligned to that thing we want to do. And that's what makes it hard. It's not because something is hard. Trading in front of people within itself isn't hard. But sometimes it is hard for people to do something because they're not naturally wired to do it in the first place. This is kind of a setup here for a 30-minute setup. There were reasons to look at this wick here as a possible entry short. I'm just not ready to try to enter this market yet. But I am still much more interested in the short side than I am in the upside. So we will continue to watch this develop. I do like the bar at the low. This one right here. I think that's a very strong looking pattern, if you will. But I'm still not ready to go long in this market yet. In terms of current profile, we do have a low volume node at around 700. And we came off the 710s, and now we're trading higher. So in auction market theory and volume profiling, we do have reasons for this long area, and it did come in from a long area as well. Let's see if I can get this set up for you guys to see. Make it a little bit bigger, maybe. Yeah. So these areas here, all I've done is I've just marked all I've done here is just mark the areas from prior profiles. I'm not looking long or short. They're not here to give me a bias. They're just here to give me where I would expect to see possible rejection. And this is one of those areas. Uncle, how's it going? It's good to see you. It is. Okay. And let me kind of explain the big picture of what's going on here. Okay. And the question is trading being used as a way to show the return in action? Yes. What is the return? So here's the main idea. We all have habits and behaviors that trigger prior to conscious participation coming online. And what does that mean? That means that there's two parts of us. There's this conditioned part of us that's there to act in a particular way that predicts our future behavior. And it does a very good job of it. Before we're 25, that part of us can be changed by the environment. Around 25, it takes conscious participation in order to change that conditioning. Okay? And one of the things that triggers the conditioning is pressure. So what I'm trying to do is, I've been working on this since about January, Uncle. So maybe you can help me with this a little bit. Okay, Corn Pop, welcome. It's good to see you. Thank you for being here. Um, when conditioning comes online, okay, we want to return to conscious participation because it's conscious participation that can change our lives, where it's conditioning that keeps the same patterns of routines happening in our lives over and over again. And now we're living a patterned life instead of an intentional life. The return's about really returning to that intentional life. And there's pressure. And so it's like, I can teach this information, but is there a way to demonstrate it? And under pressure, when that conditioning comes online, is there a way that I can enter a lab or enter some sort of space where now I can basically run an experiment and see if I can, one, trigger the conditioning at real time, two, return from that conditioning so I'm on the court, conscious participation is on the court, and I'm actively participating in my life rather than the behaviors coming in. And the reason why I chose trading for this is, one, it's pressure, okay? Two, I'm triggered. When I'm triggered, when the conditioning is online, I'm the worst trader in the world. The worst absolute trader in the world. When conscious participation comes online, I just see things differently. The way I view everything within the charts, the way that I analyze and put information together, all changes. And when that happens, I'm online and I'm feeling amazing. I feel fulfilled because my actions are aligned to what it is that I want. And I know that I did that. I know that I made that happen, not in a level of arrogancy, but because I know that I had to be on the court to do it because my conditioning is unable to do it for me. And so that's exactly what this is. It's designed to be a demonstration for that. Because I feel like if people can see that, what we don't need is another person to say, hey, look, I have this course, I have this book, I have this theory, I have this process. You know what? It works great. It'll help you get exactly what you want in your life. It's enough of that. It's It's over $1 billion industry, right? People buy that stuff all the time. But where do we see the lasting transformation? Where do we see lasting transformation in people's lives? Where do we see something like The Secret actually bring humanity as a whole to an area or to a place in their life where they're living intentionally? And so this isn't something that I necessarily want to teach. It's something that I want to demonstrate to myself. And what's really funny is when I'm just by myself, I do really well on my own. And I can do this on my own. The problem is, does it help anybody? Why does it help to watch somebody be able to trade profitably? So I can pull, $4,000, $5,000, $8,000 out of the market. I can lose $4,500 at another time. What's the point of it? If it's not there designed to be able to demonstrate something meaningful. Money's not meaningful. A demonstration of how to live intentionally, to me, that's meaningful. And so that's what I'm trying to do here. And Uncle, please, I know you have been with this whole project from almost the very beginning, and you have been very supportive in the communication that you have had with me. And I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate you. Do you see this demonstration as possibly being helpful to other individuals? And I don't know. We never know if something's going to work or not. We just try something. It's like throwing a dart and see where it hits, right? Or throwing something else that you don't do well at throwing. Like, I'm not very good at darts, and so I can throw a dart and maybe it'll hit the dartboard and maybe it won't. I have no idea. But that's kind of what I'm doing here. I'm just throwing ideas on the wall and I'm just seeing what sticks. And that's what the trading is designed to do, is to show this demonstration. Why a short here? because it's going into my ideology of what it is that I am seeing. We have this area of support below us, an area of resistance above us, and we have a level of communication between buyers and sellers up here that failed. Then we have buyers that stepped in here that we actually got below. Now there's this area now is holding as a level of support, but I want to see what happens when we get up here and see if we get resistance. If we do, I might go ahead and add in another contract to bring my my average price up a little bit, and that average price up a little bit, so I don't have to break this low in order to be able to properly manage my trade. So, Uncle, I hope that helps answer your question. Please, 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 any feedback you can give me would be so helpful, because to me, this isn't about trading. This is about how do we identify and not break, not fix, not change the conditioning that keeps our life stuck in patterns, but where intention can come online, where we can adjust the outcomes of our life. If I speak from personal experience, and yes, it is very helpful. I'm not sure what other people resonate with, but in my case, it has opened my eyes a bit and shifted my mindset a bit positively. Thank you for the feedback. I appreciate you, Uncle. And that's the whole key, right? We can't talk to the masses. We can't talk to the whole world. We're talking to the individuals that resonate. And we're all on in this life, we're all on a path. It's a journey. Life is nothing but a journey, and each of us are on a little bit of a different path. This is the path that I want to demonstrate. And I'm hoping that trading creates an environment for me where I do get triggered, like I was this morning, like I was yesterday. I was not in a good place. I did not want to stream. I feel very uncomfortable streaming and talking to individuals. I mean, who am I? Right? I'm just a guy. Why should somebody spend their precious time? The most important commodity that you have in your life is time. And what you do with your time is going to determine the vast majorities of the results of your life. Why would anybody choose to show up at a stream that I'm doing to listen to me talk? Well, that's part of my conditioning. That's not truth. That's conditioning. Because people see value in different things. I'm basically saying that nobody is going to find my time to be valuable, my words to be valuable. And that's not positivity. That's coming from something else. But I recognize that. And in that recognition, I'm able to say, okay, you know what? I'm either going to explain that away and it's absolutely not true, or I'm going to go ahead and internalize it, but I'm going to internalize it as negativity because woe is me. Wow, I'm so terrible, of an individual for even thinking that way. And now you start blaming and berating yourself, or I accept it. I accept it as a truth. I realize where it's coming from. I realize that I am not my conditioning because I know I can be on the court. And if I'm on the court, it's in the stands. And if it's on the court, I'm on the stands. Because the only place that we can actually play the game of life is on the court. And if we're not players on the court, we're not athletes on that court, then we're in the stands watching. And if we're observing, we're not actively participating in the creation of our life. And then we wonder why we have intentions and dreams and wants and goals and all these other things in our life that we want, but we're not doing them. Why aren't we doing them? Because there's something else inside of us that's on the court taking action, and we identify with that entity as ourselves. And then we blame ourselves, and we say this is us, that we're doing this. And we don't realize that we're just sitting in the bleachers, watching this part of us take action and determine what we are going to, our behavior and our actions, of our future behavior and our future actions. It's doing it for us, and we don't even realize it. And if I can demonstrate that, not in a book, not in a video, not in a recording, not in a structured teaching, but to really show it at the live edge of life, and be able to demonstrate that happening But being able to be on the court and people able to watch and see that, to me, that's valuable. Now, it sounds really great. The question is, can I do it? That's the question. And we haven't proven that yet. But that's me showing up every day, coming into this environment, into an environment that's very hostile for my conscious participation, because I've got conditioning that's telling me that I'm not the person that's able to do this. And we can call that a demon. We can call that, conditioning. We can call it subconscious processes. Every single culture, religion, spirituality, science, psychology, philosophy, they all have different names for it. I like to call it the program. Why? Because it makes it pretty simple and it kind of brings it back to the Matrix, and the Matrix kind of makes sense, at least the first one. We have a program, a system that runs, that determines the vast majority of our actions. And most people say the answer to get past that is to wake up. What the hell does wake up mean? I have no idea what that even means. What am I waking up from? I've been sleeping? No, I haven't been sleeping. Look at all the stuff that I've done in my life and my life experiences. It makes no sense. How do you wake up? Well, you just have to meditate. Beautiful. Been there, done that as well. Hasn't created the lasting change in my life that I've been looking for. And so I went on a quest. What's the answer? And I don't really think that there is an answer, but I think there's a framework. And I think science points to that framework in the context of neuroscience, especially Andrew Huberman's work, especially his early work, like on the Rich Roll podcast. I think that he spelled it out for us, completely spelled it out for us. Didn't have a process or a framework to put it in and how to actually do it. But that's what this demonstration is for. Not to say that I'm as smart or as good as Andrew Huberman by any stretch of imagination, but he absolutely was an influence on me. And I came in to figure this out. And I want to develop that at the live edge, hopefully in a way that helps other people that also want to achieve something specific in their life that maybe they're finding challenging as well. And it's not motivation. It's not dedication. It's not another course. It's not something that I'm selling. It's something that I'm doing in front of you. And if I can pull this off, I will definitely make enough in trading that I will never, ever, ever have to charge anybody a dime for doing it. That's my vision, Uncle. That's my vision. Now, how do I pull that off? I have no idea yet. But, I don't think anybody that's ever built something big in their life ever knew exactly how they were going to do it before they got started either. You just kind of learn as you go, That's what I'm doing. And so hopefully I haven't turned everybody off that's, joined because, you didn't use the right language or, I over-explained a simple concept, which is easy for me to do as well. I'm a deep individual. I've come from a lot of childhood trauma, a lot of adult trauma just because of the childhood trauma. I spent years trying to fix myself, trying to fix the patterns, trying to fix the trauma, trying to heal, and nothing created any form of lasting anything until I started to align my actions to my intention. And when I started doing that, I started to feel fulfilled, and fulfillment brings in joy. And where there's a joy, there's nothing better than that in life. And it's not created from a result or for going after the thing. It's deciding consciously what it is that you want and allowing yourself to take the action to get there and stop living a life that feels stuck because the conditioning is keeping you from doing it. People say Rome wasn't built in a day, exactly, and I think that applies so well to our lives. We figure it out as we go, so we are not perfect from the start. Exactly. Or how can we be perfect from the start? Think of a baby. I need a doll. I need a doll or something like that, but think of a baby, right? What does that baby know about themselves or the world or anything else around them? That baby is a clean slate other than the genes that's in there, which is, holding on to some of the makeup of what their personality is going to be. There's genetics that does that, some of it, but 60% of who we become is all based upon what environment we were born in. That's the key, the environment that we were born in. And think about it. If you were born in the United States and you were born in Japan, how different would your life look? What values would you have? What beliefs would be different? And it's your environment that determined, who you're going to be. It determines what you believe, what you value, how you perceive the world. It shapes the way you perceive information. And that stays with us our whole life. And people are like, oh yeah, you can change your life through grit and determination and motivation. And great, maybe you can't. I can't, with deep-seated trauma issues that happened when I was a child that I have a really hard time taking responsibility for, because if I would have been born in a different environment, I wouldn't have had those experiences anyhow. And so it's not about responsibility. I think it's more than that. I think it's much more than that. I think it's more about accepting of who you are today. But who we are is not our identity. It's not our programming. It's not the conditioning. That's not who we are. That's the lie. That our identity is the makeup of what was created, what our environment created. And it's not true. Neuroscience tells us that's not true. Intention can come online. And when it does, it has the power to change our actions. Not that we have the power to change our actions. Consciousness coming online does. And now we have a system and a process that can be followed. Not as in, oh, here, Tony's telling you to do this, so you just need to do this and you're going to be just fine. No. As in a framework, so you can build Rome in your image, not mine. And Uncle, I think that's to me, the power of the work that I am doing. Now, what's going to determine if it's powerful enough? That's the message, and does it get out there? I can't control that. I can in a way, right? But that's also through development over time. So yeah, this is just designed for a demonstration because this is a very hard environment for me to work in, trading is. And I've gotten really darn good at it. And then I turn around and I get online here and trading becomes very difficult for me. And to be able to demonstrate that difference and what's causing it and what's creating it. And for people to see that at the live edge, maybe they can see it in their own lives as well. Because it's hard to see who we are in a different light when we are that being. For example, let's say we were all eyeballs in the universe. And we could look out and we could see all the other eyeballs around us, right? But we could never turn our eye and turn it inwards and see who we really are. It's the same thing. As long as we're identified with the conditioning, with the program itself, and we are that program, we can't really see who we are. But if I can demonstrate that day in and day out here in this environment, maybe some people can see it and then we get an aha moment and be like, okay, maybe this is possible. That's my hope. Does that make sense? Did I overcomplicate it? Explain it too much? Feedback, please. Something. I do. I'm very, very passionate about this idea. And I'm very passionate about human beings. And I don't want to come across as arrogant or a know-it-all or this is the solution to life and I figured it out. Not even a little bit. And that's why I'm here, because I'm not very good at this. I'm not very good at this at all. I'm not very comfortable doing this. but it puts me in an environment where I have to choose to do it. And that's the thing that matters the most, is that choice, choosing to do something and then aligning your actions to it, rather than allowing the program to stop you from doing it. Well, thank you, Uncle. I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much. I appreciate you being here. It's funny because you never see people like, say, podcasters or streamers, right? Most of the time, you never see them when they get started. You'll see them after they have, X many followers or whatever, and they become popular. And so you don't know where they started from and then what it took to get them to have some level of popularity, right? A following. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm brand new. Nobody knows about me. I'll have, a few people show up to these streams. Very few people actually say anything about it, but I'm getting watch time. And I had like 9 people show up last night, I think. And then I had 27 people watch it between now and then. And I'm so flabbergasted by that. I think that's just absolutely amazing. And so to me, there's something there. And now the question is, do people think or feel like there's something there in the material? There's something in the material that's for them. And that's about finding an audience. And I have no idea how to do that. I'm not a marketer by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just some guy with a bunch of life issues, working on being a better person and the best person I can be, living in that concept of alignment, because I love fulfillment and I love joy. It's so much better than the anxiety, the depression that can come sometimes, and the other obtrusive negative thoughts that go through my head the majority of the time when I'm not doing the things that I say I'm going to do. I'm not aligning my actions to my intention. I am not living intentionally. And I really just do not like living that other path anymore. That's what it boils down to. Uncle, thank you. I appreciate that. No overcomplication. You explain things very well. Hopefully, you will get popular soon. You deserve it. I appreciate that. It's for me, it's not about a matter of time. I don't really care. I see myself doing this for the next 30 years. I love this. It's hard for me. It's difficult. I don't really like the processes very much. I don't like walking in this morning and feel like in the mornings and feeling dread because I've got to perform, because my conditioning is knocking me on the head, right? Saying, oh, results, results, results. And I shift from focusing on the process to results. But if you think about that though, right? That's the concept that I'm suffering with. But my goodness, if I get past that, could you imagine what my life is going to look like and how that fulfillment of my life and fulfilling that issue is going to create a whole new life for me? Oh, that's exciting. It is 100% exciting. I mean, even look at this trade right here. I was just talking randomly. I entered a trade. I didn't even tell you guys why I entered the trade. I just did. And look at it. This isn't me coming in here saying, oh, wow, look, I'm going to do this because I'm picking an idea. I saw something. I observed, I perceived information, and I took action. And then the universe gives me a result. That's all this trade is a result of my action. And when the trades go in my favor, it's not because I did something special. It's because I took aligned action. And sometimes when I take aligned action, I don't get favorable results like this. I will get other results where I get stopped out or it just doesn't work out. What's meaningful is being able to go back to those and not be attached to the actual result and be able to say, hey, I did a great job there. And that was a great sense of observation. Just like this. What got me into the trade? But when I was talking about we came off of this area of possible support, we were already in this area of resistance. And I'm like, man, what happens if this market turns rotational? I don't know if it's going to be rotational. Could buyers come in off of this and decide to step in and move us up into VPOC, into value area high? 100%. But markets are rotational a lot more often than not. And we have a 30-minute chart, which is looking pretty gosh darn bearish. And I'm saying, I'm a former Marine, all right? I was in the Army. I've been to Afghanistan. Gosh darn is not a term that I would normally use, but gosh darn TikTok, right? Is not is on the list of favorable words, where other things are not. So I'm putting that into context here. But the key is, it's that fulfillment and that joy. And it's not individual results of the trading of each trade. It's the alignment. Did I follow the process? Did I not? In here, I want to perform. I want to do well. I want to show people that I can do well. And that's when I try to force things and I don't flow. And I'm trying to analyze and I'm trying to be right. And I want to be right. At this trade, I didn't call anything. I didn't do anything else. It wasn't about being right. It was just about acting because I saw something. I'm going to act on what I saw. And the universe responds in kind because I believe we live in a loving and kind universe that wants to give us what we want. And if I can use this as an outlet to be able to show that as a possibility, then maybe other people will start believing that too. And maybe that will shift and be like, wow, the universe wants to give me what I want. Maybe I do want to be intentional with my life again. Oh, you're not distracting me from trading at all. Not even a little bit. It's very impressive that you're doing this while talking. You know, I took my first trade in 1998. I was in a cave with my dinosaur and my wooden underwear. And we got together one night and made fire. And with that fire, we started creating charts. And so in 98, I took my first trade actually from a satellite dish. Cable data was coming in through a satellite dish from Chicago. And it went through a coax cable into this like cable box. So the coax cable's plugged into the cable box, and then you plug in a 24-pin peripheral for a printer into the motherboard and into this box, and it gives you data. Okay? And that's how I traded. What's crazy though is our fills, right? Like I push the button here, I know exactly where I'm filled. I push the button, market order, boom, that gives me my fill. I know where I'm at in the market, we're good to go. I used to have to wait for up to 40 to 60 seconds for a fill to be printed and my printer to tell me where I'm at in the market. And you know what my first market that I traded, the first market ever? And this is before the E-minis were around. This is before the Euro was around. The first market I traded was pork bellies. Pork bellies, day trading pork bellies, and I had to wait for 40 to 60 seconds for my fill to be printed out on the printer. And price action's just moving all over the place because it's a very volatile, very thin market. Not the sharpest tool in the shed sometimes. I will take risks that are above and beyond what most people should find reasonable in their life. I should probably drop my stop down a little bit. I don't want to get stopped out too soon, but I feel really bad about being in $2,000 revenue in a position and only locking in, $800 at the time. So we're going to bring this down a little bit. If I'm looking at targets, target-wise, I'm actually pretty close to a target right now. I'll show you. We're in a low volume node in here, and low volume nodes, we have possible rejection in here. And so the midpoint of this low volume node here is right around this area right here, which is about where price is right now. So this 598 could be could be the low of the move. If we get through this area, I would anticipate that we get through this area pretty quickly, and we would be looking at a possibility of 508 and the low volume node of 380. Now, 380 is pretty far away for us to get into at this late stage, but hey, let's play a game. We're going to ask the audience, what do you guys think? Should we put a profit target in? Should we just trail the stop? So put one in the chat if you want me to use a trailing stop. Put two in the chat if you just want me to go ahead and target the low volume node, or this low volume node area and value area low of developing profile, or three in the chat. Do you want me to see if I can't target this high volume node around 511? Let me know. 1, 2, or 3. Those are your options. Let's go. Let's figure it out. Let you guys decide. What better way to determine, choice and actions in life than to be, given a choice and to just choose something? Doesn't matter what's chosen. We just need to get used to choosing. I mean, think about it. How many times have your spouse or your significant other or whoever might be in your life be like, oh, wow, what do you want for dinner tonight? I don't know. We're not good at making choices. So seriously, 1, 2, or 3. And I'll let you guys decide. Until then, I'm just going to go ahead and use my stop and make the decision myself. All right. How were pork bellies tradable? Well, how's the NASDAQ tradable? How's the ES tradable? How's SPOO tradable? Main index of the S&P 500. That's what we used to call it, was SPOO, because it's SP and then 2000 was 00, so it's SPOO. Exactly how it's spelled. How are any of those things tradable? That's how pork bellies is tradable. Not trying to be a smart aleck more, but there you go. Unless you have a deeper question, which, knowing you probably do. But I don't want to guess. So we're starting to make a little bit higher highs down here. This is the volatility of the market right now. Just the width of these bars, right? A full pullback is happening in one bar. If we break this low, I'll be moving my stop down here to the high of this bar right here. If we don't break the low, then we're probably just going to come up and hit my trailing stop. I'll move it down just a little bit because this is a nice, good area of resistance at the moment. If we break through that, there's a chance that we could start making higher highs. And so this gives me an area that makes sense for a stop. If I was looking at the profit target, what we were looking at over here at this area, I could have gotten a bit more aggressive in my stop as we were coming down. As we broke this low here, I could have put my stop in here, which would have locked in an additional, I don't know, 27 points. Yeah. Math was not my strongest subject in school. But I do know the alphabet backwards. Talent. And stopped out. There we go. So, what do we have? A $10,000 day today? Now, granted, that wasn't all done in the U.S. session, right? There was some overnight trading in there. About $4,000 of it was overnight trading, but that's still $6,000 in the U.S. session from the open to now. That's it. That's all that it takes for this. We don't need to analyze so much information. We don't need a ton of indicators on our charts. We don't need a ton of information coming at us at all times. We need the information that we need to feel comfortable. Because when we're comfortable, we can be confident. When we're all over the place and overanalyzing, when we're in our heads and we have thoughts coming all over the place and we're stressed with all the thinking of the mind, right? We become paralyzed. Clarity leads to peace. Peace leads to confidence. Confidence leads to aligned action. Overthinking leads to stress. Stress leads to anxiety. Anxiety leads to Suppression. Suppression of what? Aligned action to our intention. Because what are we suppressing? The intention. Why? Because we don't have the confidence. Because we're not at peace. Because we're overthinking. Meditation designed to quiet the mind. Beautiful. But a quiet mind doesn't mean that the overthinking isn't there. Because we just don't think in our minds. We recognize thinking in our minds, but that's not the only place where we think. Because the mind can go quiet, but emotions are still felt in our emotional centers. Hope that helps. Maybe I'll make that chapter 13 of the book. We'll sell the book for, I don't know, $120,000 sounds good. Per person. Yeah, I'd sold out to 10 people, and all I need is 10 people. 1.2 million. Be happy. Joking. Joking. Oh, goodness gracious. You got to have fun every once in a while. Now we're coming back into this area of support here. I'm probably not going to take another trade, but we'll definitely talk about it, at least talk about the setup, right? So we're here in this area of support. And what is the area of support telling us? What we have here is this area of unfair lows, right? We have a low volume node from a prior profile and the low of that particular day, which is this. That's all this is. This is nothing crazy, nothing else. It's the only reason why this rectangle exists. And if you look, the rectangle exists everywhere, right? You got the ones that are up here, you got the ones that are down here, you got this one over here, which is encompassed within this, and then you've got this little one in here, which is included in this one, and so on and so forth. Those are my areas. So what's going to happen? We want to see if we get a level of rejection here at the lows, or if these lows are going to break. Now, how do we get a rejection or acceptance? Well, here we have sellers, right? Sellers come into the market and we immediately go through. Price action is telling us that it's moving into the direction of the selling. But then we have a buyer that comes in here at the low. We immediately go through it, close. I should be short right now. I'm not, because I'm discussing this, but I should already be short, and I'm not going to chase a trade. Why should I be short? Because we closed below sellers and buyers stepping into the market. In other words, price does not care about volume right now. Price is doing its thing, and volume is just there to strengthen what it's doing. That means we should be looking for a continuation move. That's not rejection, that's a continuation move. What does rejection look like? Rejection would look like a tail. Okay, yeah, let's put that into the equation because everybody likes to talk about their tails, right? Price action moves above where buyers once were, okay? Price action comes down and tests that area where buyers once were. Now we not only have an area of contention of buyers and price action moving through that, but we also have now a test that it's now support. There's our support. Price action did not trade through it. Now it did. Now we have resistance. So what do we want to see now? Price action react from this area, come back and test, and come back down again through this low. Now we have sellers in control. So what's happening right now? Why are reversals so hard to trade? Because it's a market shift. Anytime there's a market shift, it's hard to trade. Give anybody a trend. Give anybody a trend. It doesn't matter. Give them a trend and say, hey, go in direction of trend. If the trend lasts forever, you're just going to make money hand over fist because you're always going to be going in the direction of trend. Makes trading difficult because markets shift. Markets shift from trends to ranges to possible trends again or ranges. And it's in these shifts. See, ranges are really easy to trade. Really easy to trade. Look, so what we do here, price action came in, right? Tested sellers, right? Closed in the middle range of the bar, which is a doji bar. What does doji mean? Doji just means that there's confusion in the market. There's no clarity. Should you be acting when there's no clarity? No. Why? Because the market's telling you it doesn't know what it wants to do. The huge difference between a bar that closes at its low here comparatively to a bar that closes at the mid-range of the bar itself and has no body to it. There's no direction to it. This is at least telling you down, expectation of down. Now you're coming to an area with possible rejection. You come through where support was, right? Where resistance was, you broke through it, that becomes support, you test it, it comes down and it closes at. It doesn't know what it wants to do. If the market's telling you it doesn't know what it wants to do, why are we trying to buy it or sell it? Wait for the confirmation. And then you're like, oh, well, if you wait, well, then you might miss out on a move. Well, there wasn't a move to begin with in the first place because there was no clarity. Now take that concept to life. Move it away from trading and go to life. Why, when we're not clear, do we still act? Why, when we don't know what we want in life, we still act like we do know what we want? Because we judge our actions based upon the results that we get. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Well, how do you know you shouldn't have done that? Because you don't even know what you want. I don't know. I'll get off my soapbox. I'm sorry, guys. I am so passionate about this stuff. Okay, so now we have a bar that closed, right? And it's high. So now we can say, oh, wow, well, now we should probably go long. Wait a second. What do we have here? We got this bar and we got this bar. And this bar is what? Did it break the range of this bar or is it inside the range of this bar? Well, it's inside. What does an inside bar tell you? More confusion. The market doesn't know what it wants to do. It couldn't break a high and it couldn't break a low. It doesn't know what it wants to do regardless of where it closed. So doji bars, don't trade off of them. Inside bars, don't trade off of them. Oh my goodness, this market's gone up. I made a mistake. I'm missing out. I could have been up $200 right now. This is what's going on internally when we're worried about results when we're trading. And that's what makes trading so difficult. It's very easy to see lack of clarity. I shouldn't be in. Oh, well, the market moved. Well, after the fact, sure. But can you create a system designed to create profitability over time when you have this type of signal you're going off of? Again, take these concepts and relate them to your particular life and circumstances. Do you see a correlation? Now, where's price trading at? We traded into the area. Now we're above or right at the area. Well, what's right above us? Trapped buyers. That probably is what caused this little extension somewhere in here because they had to get out of the market someplace. And how do we know that they're not, that they're retail and not, larger institutional traders? Because larger institutional traders are not trading in this area. How do you know? Because it's not an area of importance. It's just a random area. This is where the retail traders are. And retail traders are going to get stopped out. And this is how you can see where stop runs are for retail traders. And so what should we be anticipating here? This bar broke the range. Now we have a seller here. We tested that area. We came up, we broke it. We tested it, right? We broke it again, but we're right back down here again. Now you should be anticipating short. So let's go ahead and try it. Why not? Where's support at? Right about here. That support is now resistance. Do I know if this trade is going to work out? I have no idea. I can tell you this, I'm fading strength. I'm not necessarily comfortable with fading strength, but you know what? I'm going to do it anyhow. Why not? Test the theory. And that's what this is a lab. I've got some revenue I can play with today. Why not? Let's test it. So now we're back here into this area, right, where the support right? Resistance, and we went right through it. Now we're testing that. What happened? It found buyers. What is that telling us? Buyers are strong in this market even up here. Now look, see where the buyers were over here with 100 or so contracts? Now we have 80, 17, 14, 12, 15. It's going up on less volume. That's strength. There's strength in numbers. This whole thing is telling us long. This is why if we just look at support and resistance or just price action, we're missing the bigger picture, because this right here should absolutely 100% tell you that this market's going to do nothing but go up. Same amount of volume coming up through as here when we rejected these highs. We came through and broke through this high on much lower volume. We broke through this high on much lower volume. We should be looking for a continuation. And we should be looking for a continuation now. Where should we be expecting the pullback? Right here in this area. Why? Because it's here and I'm just going to call the pullback? No, not at all. Why the pullback there? The low volume. Low volume pushed price higher, closed at its high. Price action is going to test what? Where there was weak buyers. Why? To see if sellers step in. If sellers step in, we're going to drop lower lows. If sellers don't step in, we're going to see higher prices. And we have a seller trapped here. If we break this high, what's going to happen? Whoever sold here is probably going to be using our market orders to get out and stop orders someplace up here, and we're going to see a progression of price action moving pretty swiftly to the upside if this high breaks. Let's see if we see it. Didn't move very far? No. But what are we looking at here? A few hundred contracts? Shouldn't move very quickly. I mean, it should move quickly, but not necessarily very far. It's the speed of the transaction once it hit that high. It didn't just hit there and then go down and then come back up again. No, it went up there with some conviction. Why? Market-driven stop orders. Now we can go ahead and start trailing our stop. I'm going to make back some of that money that I turned around and lost in that other position. It's only money. It's only money, and we can absolutely 100% anticipate what price is doing, because we're not just using price. We're using the volume within the price as well, telling us where the market has a chance of going. It's all probability. And when you can understand that with a level and sense of clarity, I'm moving my stop around and I'm trailing it, and the pullbacks aren't getting me out. Why? Because I'm not just arbitrarily putting my stop someplace. I'm putting in areas in volume that's telling me this is where I would expect the pullback to happen. If the market's strong, it's going to pull back to this area more than likely. I want my stop right below it. And now I want my stop here. Why? Possible trapped buyers up here, especially two of them in a conversation. Now I'm expecting a pullback. Oh man, didn't happen. Okay, beautiful. I get to lock in a little bit more revenue in here. And look at this. I'm going to be up over 10,000 today, even though I took that loss on that other trade where I was just doing a demonstration. This is how I trade when I'm not worried about what you guys are thinking about me doing whatever it is that I am doing that you guys aren't even thinking in the first place. Man, I'm an idiot sometimes. And I don't mean that derogatory at all. Not by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not an idiot. My program is sometimes, and I just need to understand that. Not to belittle myself. Not to say that, I'm being dumb. To be able to understand who's leading my life right now. And I can definitely tell you this much right now. It is definitely not my conditioning. It's not my identity. This is conscious participation, consciously participating in my life because it's online and I'm on fire. Not because of the results. I don't care. Whatever. It's the aligned action. It's the aligned action that creates the fulfillment and the joy of doing something in the first place. And why don't we feel that in our normal everyday lives? Because we're not making consciously participatory action in our life, or we're not taking participatory action. What are we doing? We're acting on what our patterns have done previously and our predicted future behavior. And then we feel stuck. And then we try to compensate for that. My compensation, I try to force stuff. I try to control things. God. And then I wonder why I got divorced. Probably tried to control her too, huh? I mean, seriously. And there's truth to that. There really is. I say that tongue in cheek, but there really is some truth in that. And so what's going on now with price? Now we're just kind of trading within these two areas over here. Well, what's happening between those two areas? Well, nothing of importance to me. So I'm going to wait until it comes out of this level of blackness and comes back into a place where maybe I can do something. Any questions? Comments? Concerns? Anything, negative, positive, I don't care. Just love some feedback from somebody. Y'all just like bewildered right now? You guys like, this guy's insane, doesn't know what he's talking about? If you're trading momentum, you could be short here on this bar. Why? You get a pullback here, bar closes, or bar gets back below its close. You can take a shot with a very, very minimal stop in case if it does become rotational here, but especially here because we have no large volume indications in this area, anticipate a potential follow through where you get these types of higher volume in these bars. These are the ones where you can get a deeper pullback. And so the initial pullback, price action, nice big down bar, comes back through, closes, or the open gets back below the open of the bar itself, and you get below the close of the previous bar or even the low. That can be reasons to short within itself, looking for a continuation play. And that's something you can just do off of price action. You don't even have to worry about volume, other than you don't want to do that in a situation like this, where you've got, high volume above you, high volume below you. It's like this one here, may not want to do that with it. But here, you've got something different happening. You closed here, bar opened, came down, tested the support, got back through it again. There's your long. And I think this is the bar that I entered on, wasn't it? Something like that. I don't know. I don't remember. Doesn't really matter. No comments? No anything? Am I just speaking to crickets right now? It's possible. It could be nobody on. I don't know. I don't track that when I'm on here. So now we're getting close to outside of the black area, outside of space and into something more tangible, right? So we got this area right here, which we already noticed, which is around the 38.5. Okay. We're anticipating a possible response out of this area. So let's go into this chart and see where we can see a possible response out of this area. TikTok, I'm sorry, I'm going to blow this up. You can't see anything for a second. I do apologize. There's nothing I can do about it. If you want to see all the charts and you want to see them even when I do this, come over to the Purple app or come into Tube itself and you'll be able to see this. So this is an area right here that I would be anticipating a possible pullback to and looking for buyers. So I'm going to extend this over to the right. I'm going to bring that over here. We're going to bring price action back here. TikTok, can you see? Yes, you can. That's the area I just built right there. And look, we had buyer response. Something I could enter off of? No, but it's a nice little area. It's working so far for why that matters. But what happens if we come back down into this area again? Then what? That's why this area is important. Not for this particular bar and this particular move, but because it's there. Why do I love trading so much? Trading represents possibility. There's a plethora of possibilities in the market. Every single tick can represent a possibility of a new action. Okay, that's one of the things I love about trading, is just the amount of sheer possibilities. What we want is to be able to identify the possibilities aligned to to a favorable experience, right? So what's a favorable experience? Well, look at intention itself. Let's say you're trading because you want to be profitable. Okay. So a favorable intention would be being able to recognize possibilities that have a high probability of providing revenue to hit your intention, right? So now the question is how do we do that? Well, we have to limit the number of possibilities. And so this right here, coming into here, just a possibility, not one that I'm actually going to execute off of. But I can still see it as a possibility. And I can still see, oh wow, I can see this set up in real time. I can recognize these areas real time. Now, can I see the market recognizing these areas? In other words, I can draw them real time. I can see them real time. Does market behave in a way that I can use them to predict future price action that's favorable to my intention? And that's how we can build a system. See how quickly price action moved there? Yeah, a large amount of sellers in here, or a larger amount of sellers in here, and immediately moved up. What is that telling you? Possible limit orders down there. And what happens when you get limit orders going off on the bid and market orders going off on the offer? Well, you usually have a nice group of buyers. And what's a nice group of buyers? Well, if you're a big enough group, you're going to be able to move whatever is in front of you. So if you get another big enough group of limit buyers and market-driven order buyers, like market orders and stop orders, then you can see a pretty decent move of momentum. And we can tell that we don't have a lot of market-driven orders in here because we didn't break the high. But see, the question is not what's going on now. What happens when we pull back and we test lower prices? Do buyers defend? And buyers are defending higher prices right now on much lower volume, and they're not even able to make a higher high. That's rejection. Rejection isn't a tell. A rejection is price action moving higher, less volume on the offer side, and can't even break a high. If they could break a high, that's expected momentum, because now less volume is driving price. What this is telling us is buyers are starting to dry up. And look at the sellers, all dried up here at the highs until what? Right below the low volume of buyers, sellers get heavy again. And now look, we're testing into where the sellers are and we're immediately coming in. Sellers are defending that. Look at that, 16 contracts right there. You know what? I'm talking about, I'm going short. Let's see what happens. What's the point of talking about theories if we're not going to execute around them? So now what's happening? So sellers came in, right? Buyers came in a little bit. Sellers did not come in stronger on the lower portion of this. What do we have? Buyers step in. Buyers step in. Higher buyers than over here and couldn't make a higher high. And what happens? Sellers come in and start controlling the market and make a lower low. A lower low on what? Higher volume. Now we should probably come up and recycle back in and test to see buyers again here in this area. So I'm expecting 77 to be tested or price action to just break lower because sellers are coming in strong and there's not even a chance for buyers to come in and test those higher prices. Is there any questions about that? Any comments? Any concerns? Am I making any sense to anybody, or am I just talking way over your heads and you don't have any idea what's going on? Bueller. Oh, I'm back, baby. I'm sorry, but this is amazing. I'm feeling it right now. Absolutely feeling it. And I'm so grateful. And I want to thank each and every one of you in here. Thank you for giving me this opportunity because I wouldn't be here doing this right now if the technology and you guys weren't here to do it with. So thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Truly, truly appreciate you. And again, it's not results. It's I'm taking action, I'm trading. I'm not just talking about it. I'm taking action off of what I'm talking about, and we see it working before our very eyes. And this is the demonstration I'm talking about. Conscious participation. When conscious participation comes online, these are the possible results of our lives. If conscious participation wasn't online, I would still be talking about, how fearful I am of being in here talking to you guys in the first place. Completely different experience. And I get to experience that firsthand because I'm on the court taking action. Not in the stands watching my subconscious mind take the actions for me and watching my account balance go down. This is much more fun. Here in this area, do we see buyers come in here? Let's see. I'm going to lift this up here a little bit because we are in this area. I am anticipating a pullback into this area. I am anticipating a possibility of buyers to come in. If buyers do come in, they're going to come back in and they're going to test where sellers were. They're going to test this high volume right here. All right. This high volume could be tested here as well. What's this high volume? All it is a VPOC. It's the highest volume within a 2-minute period. That's all it is. And now we want to see price action come down and break this low, but we don't. We see the buyers come in and look, we're rejecting off of these areas. Does that mean that's going to continue to go down? No. It means that we were able to pinpoint an area where we were expecting resistance to come into the market for buyers to test, and it played off of that area beautifully. And now we're getting below it. Oh my God, if this is a sign of what my life can be when I get this figured out, I can't even express in English verbiage how this experience is making me feel right now. This is absolutely awesome. And I hope some of you are on here right now watching this unfold, because for me this is a lot of fun. I hope it is for you too. And if it's not, please tell me. That way I can turn around and make it fun for you as well. Amara, are you still on here? Oh, darn. I got stopped out. Shoot. Wow. Just wow. 322. Any comments, questions, concerns? Anybody want to tell me to shut up? Oh, goodness. I am a smart aleck. I apologize. Yeah, good times. Good times. And look, came through the area, couldn't get back through it, came into initial balance low, rejected, right through the area, came back, tested near the area, right here in this area of support, and boom. Right back to midpoint of initial balance. Coming directly off of our nice little area in here, and hopefully coming in and breaking the 770 area. Buyers stepping in. Of course, we got through them. Sellers came in off of a pullback. Call it profit taking, call it what you want. Buyers are defending the areas. See if this high breaks. I personally don't like to trade these areas of like just putting like a limit order in, because price action can just trade right through them. I like for these types of pullbacks to happen and then the bar to turn positive again. Or my favorite is a new bar opening, barely breaks the low of this bar, and then goes positive and starts moving back towards these areas here. That's like my favorite setup. Why? Because now we just made a lower low, and it's especially there's lower volume over there. The sellers are drying up, buyers start getting aggressive. Now we have auction market theory behind us for our entry point. Multiple levels of it. Rejection of lower prices, sellers stepping out from lower volume, price action moving in direction of the position, and then possible buyer's aggression as well. There's four things stacking in a single area. that gives you a high probability of possible direction. And then price action opens here, comes directly above. There's a signal for the long. Price action breaks these highs right here. And now we should be starting to see price action start moving towards the 770s. Why am I not in this? I don't need to prove my actions are aligned to intention anymore today, to be honest with you. I'm good. I've made my trades. I've put my demons to bed for today. Tomorrow is a completely another day. I'll be here at 9:40 in the morning again, ready to do this all over again. But this time, to make it even more meaningful and more impactful. Not to rest on my laurels and say, hey, today was a great day, a great job. Tomorrow, we're going to raise the stakes again. And we're going to see how I react to that pressure. Does that pressure trigger my program conditioning to get back onto the court and I'm observing? Do I get triggered back into result orientation, which leads to negative trading experiences for me? Or does conscious participation stay online with that pressure and I'm able to align my actions to intention? That's the question. That's the Human Performance Lab. That's what matters. I wouldn't be looking at a long here if I was still trading. The reason why I wouldn't be looking at a long because I'd be waiting for a pullback first. Price action starting to pull back. We have a buyer that came directly in here and immediately price action sold below it. We have area of potential resistance above us. Price action can pull back, retrace into that area of resistance. And the price action comes back down below where this buyer is. Now you've got a reason of strength to follow through on an expectation of lower price. Let's see what happens here. Got a pullback. Didn't take very long for that to happen. Price action still hasn't gone through. We haven't traded back below. Buyers could still be defending this area and moving us right back above resistance. So wait, there. And now we turn around and we have an expectation of price action to continue to the downside. Spoinky, welcome. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you stopping by. Now we've got resistance up here. And then that resistance, we're going to have potential support to come into the market here as well. And so this position here, since we rejected directly below this area, is not as strong of a position as it was at the time of entry, of course, because, it's come against us. But the chances of it coming back down here into this area is much lower now because of where price currently is and how it's behaving at the moment. And so let's see what happens when we come into the 28 area. $330. I want to be out of this position by $350, so it should stop me out by then. See, I'm already anticipating it to be an expense trade. Why? Because of how price action is behaving, how volume is behaving in here. Look at the buyers in here. Now we have buyers and sellers communicating at the same time, breaking directly through resistance is going to make a higher high. Not saying it's going to, but probability speaking, it's going to create a higher high. What would need to happen? And then, of course, get through the two layers of support below us. Price action came through here, expecting price action to come back here, to especially with this in here now, anticipating price action to come back and test this high. If it breaks this high, we need to see 28 and a quarter to hold. And if that doesn't hold, we're going to come up and we're going to start breaking the highs, especially with the buyers beneath us. But if we have buyers beneath us here and we get through this area, if we can get back through to the entry point, we could see a potential stop run breaking through these two lows right here. Let's see what happens. And of course, what do I mean by a stop run? Just quick, short, successive price action moving to the downside. That's just it. Nothing elaborate, nothing that, is going to expand upon 4, 6 ticks or so, maybe 8. But you should see it break quickly. And now we have our first conversation in here that we've had for a while. Buyers and sellers are both talking here. We have an area of contention. Price actions moving lower. Do we break this low? And if we do we break it hard? If not, we would expect this one to possibly break hard. There we go. I'm going to move my stop to a break even here just because of how price action's behaving. And now I'm out without being hurt, even though we cycled all the way back up to the highs. Made a lower low, less sell volume over here comparatively to over here as we're making that low, and then stronger buyers, 11, 25, 2, and 6. Price action gets above this area, we're probably going to take those highs out. Chased it a little bit there. I should have been in either down here or right here. Got in a little bit too high. That's okay, because we're going into the direction of momentum. We should see momentum carry us through. About $200 there in revenue. I'm going to go ahead and make this a free trade. There's no reason to taking any more risk today. It's 3:30. I'm going to cover these pretty quickly in terms of risk because there's just no reason to keep risk on, especially when I'm up $11,200 on a day. Price action broke this high over here. We do have higher volume coming in over on the buy side. Sellers are coming in and still defending. Where are we looking at price action to possibly pull back into? Here into these two areas right here. Price action's currently moving into those areas. It just did. Now do we see buyers react? If buyers are strong, we're going to come up and we're going to test where this high volume is and we're going to break this high. If they're not, we're going to cycle through someplace up here before these highs are broken and come back down and test this area of support again. On price action, what's happening? Look at the sellers. There's very little sell volume up here, but there's very little sell volume the last time we were up here as well. Buy pressure, about the same. So expect a cycle, pull back into this area possibly. I'm expecting these highs to break now and 770's back on the table again. Any questions? Bizarro Man, how's it going? Platform. I use deep charts. I know a lot of people out there are like, oh, well, deep charts sucks, or it's just a rebranding of another company or whatever it might be. This is why I use deep charts. 1, the platform is extremely easy to set up. 2, it's stable. 3, I get no commissions for any of this. 4, it gives me everything that I need as a touch of a button. I can go and have these profiles on here if I want. As another touch of a button, I can have these type of profiles. Bizarro Man, thank you. I appreciate that. If you have questions, please let me know. I don't have a course. I don't have anything along those lines. I don't need to sell anything to anybody, nor do I want to, but I do want to see people succeed. That's why I'm here. So ask questions, please. Now we have a conversation again. Buyers and sellers up here at the high. Let's take 770 off the equation right now because we're having a conversation at a high. Why would we be having conversations at a high? Because nobody knows exactly what direction price action is going to go in right now. All bets are off in a possible trading market. We're back into trading in a range. How do we trade a range? Well, first of all, we have to identify the range that we're trading in the first place. And right now we're trading kind of in this range right here. So I'd still be anticipating price action to come into at least the 760. What is that price right there? I need better glasses. My goodness gracious, I have too much gray hair and I can't see jack. 781. So if price action comes back into the 781 area, which is close to the 770s, I'd be looking at cycling. But I'm not expecting that to happen right now. I'm expecting a cycle to start happening now, which means that we can start saying VPOC could possibly be our high area of cycling to move us back down into the 32 areas, and we can just rotate between those two areas. Let's see if it happens. Rejecting where the buyers are. If it's strong, we're just going to break it. If it's weak, we're going to test into here and possibly break the highs. What is volume doing right now? We're not seeing any buyers coming in here. No extra buying here at the highs as well. How are you going to break highs if buyers aren't coming in? I'm anticipating this area to possibly break, test the lows, and we're going to see if sellers come into the market. Hey, Bizarro. Anytime. That's what I'm here for. Oh, also, are you still here, Bizarro? I'll show you one more thing. I will show you one more thing that Deep Charts has that I do use. It's kind of like behind the curtains, right? Oz doesn't want anybody to know what's behind the curtain. You want to see it? If you're still here, I'll show it to you. But you have to say something. I'm going to make you talk again. You're welcome. Nope, not here. Okay, that's okay. Oh, yes, you are. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Have you seen anything like this before? Do you know what this is? Do you know why I might use it? I know, so many questions, right? You didn't come in here and expect a pop quiz, did you? You're welcome. I am here to help. Yes, it's a heat map. Yash, how's it going? Hello, welcome. Thank you for being here. That's exactly what it is. It is a heat map, but it's not off of Bookmap. It's actually on Deep Charts. It's a deep dome. All I'm using it for is for potential rejection out of my areas. I'm an auction market theory guy. I believe in auction market theory. What are we not seeing at this high right up here? I'm not seeing rejection. How am I not seeing rejection? I'm not seeing rejection because I'm seeing strong buying in here, but where are my strong sellers? And sellers are weakening at these lows in here. I'm not seeing that rejection. What that means is I don't want to take a reversal here, but if sellers start to get through this area, I could see a continuation play to the downside after a rejection has now been confirmed. Okay? That's how I'm using it. It does give you order and liquidity, but you know what? It's the same thing that we can get from these volume bars anyhow, so it doesn't really matter. I'm already seeing the liquidity. I'm already seeing the orders in this context. What I can't see in here is necessarily the rejection, especially when, we have higher volumes coming in here. Is that acceptance or rejection? All the heat map gives me is that clarity of possible rejection. And if this was an area that I wanted to short in and I was expecting price to come up to, I wouldn't want to short here because the heat map isn't giving me the sellers up there. The buyers, yes, but not the sellers. I don't see the aggression. I hope that helps. And that's why I use this, is because it's easy to set up and the deep dome and the charts run automatically. And I have this running over the background so I can see with the little rejection areas. Because I am an auction market profile guy, I will hit rejection quite often, into unfair highs and unfair lows to move back into the other area of value. Where do we get in trouble as traders? In that shift. And that shift between what is possible rejection at unfair highs, unfair lows, what is a breakout of rejection, and then does that breakout move back into value again, or does it move into a trending market? And a lot of times that's where auction market theory people will get caught up because of that market shift. And so I'm using tools to help me keep out of the noise of the shift, to help me guide me into value or back into an imbalanced trending condition. Is there any video on learn more on heat maps. So Heat Dome has some out there. Trader Vale, I think is his name. That's the scalper guy that they have that's doing some of their marketing and different things along those lines. There's some deep dome stuff out there for the heat map. There's some individuals in the Asian section that are just running heat map. If you would like me to do a video on heat map, let me know and I will create a video for you. I could have that out there this next week, possibly even this week, if you would like to have one of those based upon how I'm using it. But again, just because I'm doing something doesn't mean that it's right. We're all different as a trader. So if something resonated with you here, I will absolutely do a video for you on heat map if you want to see it demonstrated in that way. If you want to see a demonstration though, in some of ways other people use it through orders liquidity and those type of things, I would definitely look up Trader Vale. Yeah, I'll absolutely get that done. I'll work on that. Let me get a good example. I'd like to see it real time. So, next couple of days as I'm seeing something, let me do a video on it where it's live. That way you can see how it's developing. It's not something I'm doing through static information. You can see it develop live. How does that sound? Oh, good, good. What were you using before, Bizarro? Just out of curiosity. I started trading in 98. There's not much that I haven't seen. Started trading when dinosaurs roamed the world. Ah, probably. Yeah. Well, I came up on your For You page. Sweet! It's getting out there. I just started streaming recently. So, you're on YouTube. Can you see my whole screen right now? You see like 3 charts on the main. This is the other chart that you probably don't see. Into very basic supporters. Gotcha. This is the other chart that I use. So this here is my market profiling for the US session only. This is the overnights. This is everything included. I do connect profiles. I haven't connected these profiles. This was the Friday. I really kind of wanted to see this because I wanted to see how we traded that next day in here. And after this day, I will probably put all these profiles into the one. Okay, beautiful. And so this is the other chart that I will utilize as well. But what you see is what you get. I have delta on here. I don't know if you do anything with cumulative delta or if you know what it is, but in here this morning, what I noticed was, look at this delta volume coming up. What is price doing? Down, down, down. What's happening is the sellers are absorbing the buying pressure. That means strong sellers. And what did we do? We broke the highs and then we came right back down again and broke the lows. That's why you have this chart on here. And these lines, I'm just testing them to see if support and resistance, but I'll show you what I use for support and resistance. I use the large volume. Now, I don't need these dots. I can see the large volume, but they give me a really good representation. And I can use that representation to come back here and say, okay, I've got sellers, I've got buyers. I can turn around and I can identify areas. A seller in here, price action came down, right? We know that there are strong sellers in here, price action came down. And then look at this little volume area right here. This little volume area of these high volumes back to back to back as we close back above again, I'm anticipating price action to come back and test those areas. What happens if it does, or does it? I don't even know. It should, but I don't know. Let's see if it does. And then what we want to know is, how does price action behave around that area once it comes back? And it hasn't come back yet. But that's what I'm using for support and resistance. And then in here, I'm looking at a conversation between buyers and sellers, a conversation between buyers and sellers. And what are we seeing within the conversation? I'm anticipating price action to come back, test into this area. If it comes down, look for a possible continuation play to the downside. If it comes down and holds this area, buyers get aggressive again through what we can see in the order flow, then we're probably going to be breaking highs or at least testing higher areas of resistance. So that's how I use support and resistance. I'm actually using volume, because what do we know about volume? Volume, price action likes to come back to areas of high volume, and it likes to reject off of areas of low volume. And so if I can see the high volume within the charts themselves, I can anticipate where I would expect pullbacks to come in. And then I can utilize order flow to tell me if sellers are aggressive or buyers are aggressive in that area, which side is drying up, what side do I want to be on? And that's how I put it all together. If you're still here, let me know. Are you just now getting into profiling? Because there's one more thing I want to show you, as long as your ears aren't leaking right now from the information I gave you. I want to show you something that I think a lot of individuals in volume profiling have a hard time with at first. Okay. So we have our profiles that are already drawn for us, right? But then it's possible for us to draw our own profiles as well, our developing profiles. And what's hard for a lot of people, at least I've heard people talk about it, is knowing where they want to draw their profiles. And when you're drawing your profiles, okay, a lot of people will say, I want to use highs and I want to use lows. Well, the thing about highs and lows is highs can get broken. And then do you draw your profile from that new high, or do you not? What I always do is I draw my profiles from where price action broke a previous range. Okay. So here, price is coming down, it's trending. We go into this area of value, right? This area of value, the high is pretty much right in here. When we made this bar and closed above it, I'm already creating a new profile. And one of the reasons why I love this platform, it's so easy to create them. As you can see down here, I have Sierra charts. I own Sierra charts, but I like D charts better because I don't need an engineering degree in order to do it. So what does price action do? It trades up. It's trending. Beautiful. It's a trending market. We move our profile and we start it here. Then starts to trend again. So now we have this little range in here. Watch what this does. Look at this. If I can get it to move, right? That would be helpful. And I need this down here because I need to move this over here to this bar. Look. Price action came up, trending, right? Came down to value area low, right here. And it's going to move when I do that. So let me do it this way. It's the only thing that's touchy with this platform. See, look at that. Moved into value area low. There's your pullback in a trend condition, right? And it's a profile you just drew. So then it turns around, it comes up and it closes again, right? What do you do when it closes again? You move your profile to that same line. And you keep doing that until it closes and you hit this range, and you keep your developing profile on here until you get a close again. Then when you get a close again, you build your new profile from right here. Why? What you're doing is you're teaching yourself to see the breakouts. And why are the range breakouts so important? Because that's signifying if it's going to be balanced or if it's going to be trending. All right. Work on that. Utilize. Yes, exactly. It keeps repainting over and over again. utilize that and see if that helps you in developing your own developing profiles, because I much prefer to use developing profiles than I do actual profiles themselves. I only use my profiles to get ideas of where I want to do business when we're actually trading in a range. And all I'm doing in that is I'm just taking the unfair highs and unfair lows. I don't want a bias on the day. I don't want anything else, because the market can do anything. We could be in a range and I'm going long and short. These areas aren't here to develop a bias. The areas are here to say this is an area of interest that I'm looking for rejection or acceptance. That's it, because that's all market profile is all about. Is a current price accepting current prices, higher prices, lower prices, or rejecting those prices? And is it trading in a range and balanced, or is it trending? And if you can determine those three things, you can determine the shift between those, your computer just turned into an ATM machine. Any questions? And Yash, you yourself, yes, I do realize that you're here as well. I do apologize. It was Bizarro Man that asked me the question, but yeah, you're included as well. Anybody have any questions on that at all? I wish you guys were here like a half an hour ago when I just traded my arse off. It was absolutely pretty cool to watch. Last couple of days has been pretty difficult for me. I'm not used to trading live, and it puts me kind of on the spot, and psychologically it's messed with me a little bit. I was down $4,500 yesterday. I haven't had a down day in I don't know how long, months, since I've actually had an actual negative day. And so this has changed my psychology a little bit, but I came back online again today, this afternoon, and boom, here we go. Because trading, having a plan and understanding is awesome and amazing. But what happens when the performance kicks over and you're sitting on the court and you're watching your behaviors and your patterns take action, and they're not aligned to the intention that you want in your own trading, and now you're trading out of control? And so the performance lab is, when that shift happens, how do we get ourselves out of the bleachers, observing this happening and putting ourselves back onto the court? And that's really where it comes into trading psychology as well. But not trading psychology as in trading in the zone or, whatever else might be out there. No, it's all about how do we allow conscious participation to come online, its intention, that what it wants, and aligning our actions to it to get that fulfillment and joy of being present and acting in that presence, rather than allowing the program that runs the vast majority of our future behavior to take control and take action for us, that moves us away from our intention. Because if you want to be a profitable trader, it means that you're not a profitable trader yet. If you're not a profitable trader yet, it means you haven't built the habits, or you have bad habits that are keeping you from being profitable. If those bad habits show up, they're on the court taking action for you. You're observing it because your conscious intention isn't online driving your actions to achieve the aligned results that you're looking for. And so, yeah, exactly. Coming online and trading, live is taxing, but oh my goodness gracious, let me tell you, this has been like the best experience of my life, and it's been absolutely amazing. I think this afternoon trading this session, I was up like 3,200. I was up 4,000 offline trading the Asian session last night, and then the rest of it was in the US session with like 3 or 4 trades today. I've had a really, really, really good day of trading today, but 11,000 isn't. And I'm trading one lots, so it's not like I'm trading multiple contracts. So if you want to come in, you want to learn how to trade, maybe not follow my trades, follow your own trades, most definitely, because I am having some issues between these two. But if you really want to come in and learn auction market theory, I can absolutely be a valuable asset to you in that. But I wouldn't be live if I didn't think that was true. So, but see what I was talking about here in the context of rejection. Again, didn't really see that rejection, but see how the sellers started to get aggressive, kind of down here at this low, and then the buyer stepped in. And now look, buyer stepped in, buyer stepped in, buyer stepped in, buyer stepped in. So let's go back over to the entry chart and look at those areas of what's going on there. Okay. what happened here. So we have a buyer that came in at the high, price action came in, retested through, came up, closed near its open, right? Then we have a conversation, sellers come in or buyers come in, try to come back up through here, are not able to come into where the sellers were, price action came down, rejected, and now we have the sellers in here with confirmed rejection off of the book map here in this area. Then price action comes in, tests where the sellers were, came back into an open bar, buyer stepping in here, you should be long in here, you should be long in here. And now you have another conversation up here. As that conversation takes place, move your stop here in this area because you're expecting price action to pull back, take your profits. If it does pull back, here's your re-entry point. So that's just a sequence of the way to put information together in a way that's presented visually that allows us to train our perception to see it as it's happening live. I come online at 9:40 a.m. to 10:40 a.m. So I only trade the US session for about an hour. Then I come online from about 2 to 4 p.m. If you want another session on top of that, or just to get together and maybe even talk about some of your trades and those type of things, check me out on Discord, Live the Return. Let me know what you're looking at. Let me know your schedule. We can do something over the Asian session, free of charge. So I'm never going to ask you for a dime. So don't think that has anything to do with it. I am working on a book. This information here I just shared with you is probably going to be in chapter 14. I'll probably end up selling the book for about $120,000 a pop. 10 people makes me about 1.2 million. I should be pretty set with that. So, that's always a possibility. Keep that in the back of your mind. Such a smart ass. Oh man, it's good times. You can't take yourself or life too seriously, my friend. And then here you start seeing buyers and sellers getting aggressive in very tight spots, right? This is an area of contention. Wait for price action to give you a better signal. That's another way of using the heat map as well. Yeah. The Discord server is Live the Return, is what it's called. You should be able to just look it up. I unfortunately, doing the multi-chat here, I can't add a comment into YouTube, only TikTok. Why it does that, I don't know. And I'm not smart enough with all this technology to be able to figure it out myself. I need to get somebody to fix it for me. I have gray hair, I have limitations, right? This technology stuff, I do my best. I do my best. I built my own computer. This is a start, right? But that's about it for me. If you guys have any questions, please let me know before I come off air. Drop me on Discord, and if you would like to come in and do some sessions on the Asian session, we can absolutely do that. I don't trade the Asian session live too often, just because liquidity can be pretty thin, and you start getting you start getting split fills, where your fills will be split due to the spread, because the spread whitens out due to the lack of liquidity. And I think that pretty much ends it for me today. Oh, one more thing here. Look, check this out. See how the sellers are getting aggressive down here at the low? We barely break the low, and look at the buyers getting aggressive. There's your signal. Then you get that stacked up with buyers coming in. You get rejection over here on this type of chart right here that starts stacking up, and now you're expecting a nice little long move that you can just scalp out, pick up $200-$300 out of pretty quickly, and then there you go. These are my favorite setups right here when they happen on the highs and the lows. You barely break a low and you turn around and you're on strong volume to the downside. If that volume is really strong on the downside, there's really sellers, why did we only break the low by 2 ticks? It makes no damn sense whatsoever. And the buyers start stepping in and you get a bar that gets back over its open. Oh yeah, all day long. That should be a signal I'm buying. That little break of that low right there. And now we have 2 buyers down here. We get back through it again. Sell. I really wish I could see this stuff real time. That irks me that I can't. On that note, thank you guys so much for being here. I do really, truly appreciate each and every single one of you. Um, this is what makes this fun is community, and the trading community, I think, in my opinion, is one of the best trading communities out there, or one of the best communities out there. You guys are absolutely amazing, smart people, looking to better yourselves and your life in a very exciting way. And I just think it's amazing. If there's anything I could possibly do to help any of you out, please, please, please drop me a line. Find me on Discord, leave the return, leave a comment in one of these videos, reach out to me. Let's work together. Let's see about getting you aligned to your intentions and moving you in the direction of the life that you want to live. That's what this is all about. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. I really do appreciate you being here. If you got some value out of this video, please like it. If you got a lot of value out of it, please consider subscribing so you don't miss future videos. And also my schedule for streaming, that's going to be over on Twitch, so consider going over there as well. If you're on TikTok, please come over to the Purple app. Why the Purple app? You're going to see the full thing here of all my charts, or even on YouTube, whichever one works best for you. If you're feeling really generous, please leave a comment on one of these videos. It really helps small channels out like me that can get information out there. And I really would love to see this information get out there, because I really would love to help people. Hey, Bizarro Man, you take care as well. Thank you so much for coming in today. I truly appreciate you. Thank you for your questions. Yeah, this is getting fun. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Have yourself a great evening. Enjoy. And happy trading.